Welcome to my session on resources for researching South African ancestors, and thank you for joining. This session will contain a huge amount of links, so please download the PDF accompanying this session for links to all the resources mentioned during the session. For completeness, the last few slides of my session called Concise Guide to Researching South African Ancestors will be included here as they cover some very important resources. So in this session, I will look at some general resources. We will look at digital collections, newspapers, and so forth. We will also look at published genealogies, and we will look at some surnames online. South African death notices, which are included in probate files, are very important documents to consult during South African research, and they're available from 1834 onwards. It is important to note that not every person will have one, since it's dependent on deceased estate registration. Historical death notices are available at the archives and often also online on FamilySearch. We will talk about the archives in the next slide. Death notices can contain the following information: the name of the spouse of the deceased, the last address of the deceased, where the person was born, usually also parents' names, all children, but it is worth noting that previously deceased children might be left out and not listed on the death notice. The husband of any married daughter of the deceased is often listed. If children predeceased the deceased, the grandchildren are often listed. There are also often birth dates of minor children recorded. But another important point to remember is that they were and are completed by family members of the deceased and may contain errors. In order to find these death notices, you need to know what the estate file number is. This slide gives you a summary of where to find estate file numbers. So all the dates on this slide are approximate and can be different for different master's offices and archive depots. The older estates pre-1980 are indexed on the National Archives index site. The 1995 to 2008 estate file numbers are contained in the Massetti files. This is a set of Excel spreadsheets which were extracted from an old database. The spouse, surname, and surname fields are the wrong way around in these files. So if you are looking for a deceased person, you need to look in the spouse, surname column of the Excel spreadsheet. After 2008, all the estate file numbers are recorded in the Master's Office online system. You can use the estate file number to find the file on FamilySearch if it is available. For links to FamilySearch collections, download the PDF from this link. It's also worth knowing that if it is not available online, you can usually order it from the archives. Now let's look at the South African National Archives. It has an old search engine and a new site. The old search is more powerful as it contains lots of fields to filter on and to refine your search, but the new site is more user-friendly. The following depots are the biggest depots that you will find in that index. This is not a list of all the depots, these are the biggest ones. So you will find that depot KAB is Cape Town, and the index contains death notices from 1834 to 1959 for Cape Town. And TAB is Pretoria or Transvaal, and the index contains death notices up to 1976. VAB is Bloemfontein or the Orange Free State, and the index contains death notices up to 1956. NIB is Pietermaritzburg, and death notices up to 1971 is recorded in the index. You can also use the RSA option during a search, which will search all depots. Like I've said before, some collections are available on FamilySearch, and you can download a list. All depots or databases except KAB can be ordered through eGGSA if it's not available on FamilySearch, and there's a link for that. For depot or database KAB, you can order what is not online from a private researcher or directly from the Cape Town archives. I use a private researcher, Heather McAllister. She also covers the other depots, and her website is listed there as well as her email address. FamilySearch contains most of our collections. There's no other site with as many records as FamilySearch, which means that South African records are free. So the status of our FamilySearch collections, the South African collections, are as follows. They're either not digitized at all, which will then mean that a little microfilm reel will appear next to the collection. The collections are sometimes digitized from microfilms, but not yet indexed or transcribed, and you can search a catalog on FamilySearch. A list of some of the collections can be downloaded from this link. Then some of the collections are indexed or transcribed, and you can search directly for the records on FamilySearch. This icon will display even if the collection is not fully indexed, so it might be worth your while to browse through it as well. It is also worth noting that some collections are only available at an affiliated family history center. Unfortunately, most South African records are in category 1 and 2 at the moment, with not all of them digitized yet, and also not all digitized ones have been indexed. Please also always sign in to FamilySearch. Under general resources, I can also mention the following. The YouTube channel of Matthew Bodie. Matthew's instructional videos include South African research guides, general genealogy tips and techniques, as well as software training. There's a great video on finding estate files on Matthew's channel. Then the Genealogical Society of South Africa, or GGSA. They've got published genealogies for sale. They've got various branches to join, including eGGSA mentioned below. They have a web shop. For a very small pay-per-view fee, you can search the 1984 Voters Roll, the Cemetery Transcript Project, eSagi, which is genealogical data merged from several JETCOMs. The web shop is a work in progress, and they will add more collections over time. eGGSA is the virtual branch of GGSA, and their website contains church register transcripts, gravestone photos, newspaper extracts, and you can also order your archive documents from their website. You do save if you are a member, so please join as a member. And just once again, all these links are available on the PDF you can download on the session's main page. CD Books R Us is an e-book shop where you can buy various books, South African books, but also there's also some freebies to download. I also want to mention a private researcher called Vida McLaren. She's got a Facebook page called I Search Genealogy Research, and Vida can help with building trees and finding ancestral documents in South Africa and the UK. There is a price list on her Facebook page. I also want to mention Gen Database. It's a part subscription, part free site. It is strong on marriage and death information from the population register of living individuals after 1980. The data is up to date to 2006. There are no source documents, information only. And the first 50 Years project is a website about the early history and records of the Cape of Good Hope. The universities often have very interesting collections of digitized material as well as theses of historical significance. So you'll find a list of these in the PDF. The WITS repository of digitized items contains a substantial collection from the Church of the Province of South Africa, the Anglican records, of St. Helena Island, Cape Town, Natal, Zululand, and it contains baptisms, marriages, and deaths. The repository of academic institutions in the Eastern Cape is a collaboration between the Nelson Mandela University, Rhodes University, University of Port Hare, and Walter Sisulu University, and contains mainly theses and dissertations. University of Stellenbosch collection is a variety of digitized historical items, including photos. The University of Pretoria African Heritage Collections is a collection of rare and valuable books and documents, maps, and other material. Then you've also got the University of Cape Town digital collections. There are a few church newsletters and yearbooks available. The Hervormer of 1909 to 2015, the Almanak en Kerkbode of the Hervormde Kerk between 1907 and 1916. Then there's also the Seventh-day Adventist Church Archive yearbooks back to 1883. These yearbooks are international, but they contain heaps of information about South African Seventh-day Adventists. The South African Medical Journal is unfortunately very difficult to search, but if you do have a family member who was a medical professional, you may be able to find information there. There are two websites on the South African Railways, and that is a magazine and one on the railway history. The magazine one has a surname search, and the other one has got lots of photos and maps and general history of the railways. Then there's the Government Gazettes of Africa. There are two websites, and they are also a work in progress. They are uploading new gazettes or old gazettes they managed to find on an ongoing basis onto this website. Let's look at published genealogies available from EGGSA's website to purchase. The South African Genealogy SAG compilation was started by the HSRC in South Africa, the Human Sciences Research Council. The Genealogical Institute of South Africa, GISA, completed the A to Z collection of 17 volumes. So it contains family trees of surnames A to Z. It's organized in surname order. GISA started updating the volume systematically and named it SAF in order to distinguish it from the earlier compilation. GISA was able to complete the update of the volumes containing surnames A to L before GISA was closed. The copyright was handed over to GGSA as a gift, and the entire collection is now known as SAF and currently consists of about 14,000 family registers, around 1.1 million names in register format, and surnames alphabetically divided into 49 PDF sections. They are very easy to look up and to find surnames and people. So the collection forms the basis of many researchers' work and is without doubt the South African archive of our South African family registers. In this way, South Africa preserved both its history and culture by constantly updating, adding to, and verifying the registers for accuracy. There's also ebooks of various surname publications available from EGGSA's website. Now, most people will know that you can find on GeneNet, Wikitree, Geni, and FamilySearch some collaborative trees or published trees. But it's also important to note that there are many surname groups on Facebook. So by doing a simple Facebook search for a surname, you might be able to find a group who focuses on that specific surname. There are also websites online of family trees. So some South African ones that I was able to find is for the surnames Keller and Muller, Greef, Blom, Pretorius, Barkhuizen, Van Heerden, Martens, Linde, Burger, Morkel, Malan, Fritz, Leibrand, Anderson, Bart and Townsend, Chet, Van der Linde, Weiss and Van Rooyen, Page, Pinaar, Goossens around the world, then Venter, Van Blerk, Van Dyk, Whitfield, and there may be more that I have yet to discover. Thank you once again for joining me for this session, and please remember that there's also an introduction to DNA test for South Africans, and you're welcome to watch that as well.